Students, so you've tried your hand at correcting some mistakes, and now let's check them together. Okay, so in the first sentence, some cities exist for more than 100 years, and some cities are complete new. So there are two mistakes here. Did you catch them both? Let's see. Some cities exist. That is the wrong tense to use. That is a present simple tense, but what do we need here? Well, the cities began to exist over 100 years ago, and they are still here now. So what tense do we use for something that began in the past and is still true now? Well, that would be the present perfect, right? And how do we form the present perfect? Have or has, depending on the subject, plus the past participle. So like, I have eaten breakfast. I have watched that program many times, right? So here we're going to change this. Some cities have existed with the third verb form or the past participle, because the cities began existing over 100 years ago and still exist now. What about the second mistake? Well, it's complete, and this should be an adverb. Adverbs usually describe verbs, but they can also be used to describe adjectives, and here the adjective is new, so we need completely new. Did you catch both of those? Do you use present perfect in your writing? You should ask yourself if you should use it in certain sentences. Okay, let's move on to the next one. In addition, comma, the public transportation are very cheap, especially for students, because it's free. Well, I see several mistakes here. So we know that transportation is uncountable. So it has to be with is in the singular, right? Did you catch that mistake? So the public transportation is very cheap, especially for student. So here we know plural students. And because is free, we are missing an it. And the it means public transportation, right? Okay, how about number 3? Number 3 is a fragment sentence. Two countries divided by a border. We need something else. We're missing a verb, we're missing something, right? So you could say two countries are divided by a border. Two countries have been divided by a border. Okay. Or you could actually add more to the sentence. Two countries divided by a border are usually very similar. Maybe they're talking about the US and Canada or the US and Mexico. Okay, so you could fix this in multiple ways. Let's go to number 4. The pollution in my city is worst due to lack of green zones and asphalt streets. Well, because we're online, of course, the misspelling of pollution here is caught right away. So that would get a little SP. The pollution in my city is worst. So this has to either be the worst, or maybe there's a sentence comparing it to another city before it, such as the pollution in Austin is bad. And then you move on and say, the pollution in my city is worse, meaning worse than the pollution in Austin. So again, it depends on the context. Due to, and then we would take out this of. Due to is just a fixed phrase. Due to lack of green zones and asphalt streets. And now the sentence is correct. Okay, and there are multiple ways to fix that sentence, but let's just stick with that one. What about number 5? These 2 cities located on 2 different continents. Okay, so should be are located. These 2 cities are located on 2 different continents, right? They were missing a verb. Are located. How about for number 6? Another significant differences are the cost of living. Well, it doesn't make sense to say another significant differences. It should be difference is the cost of living. It should be in the singular form. And remember, another single reason, right? Let's go to number 7. They have a lot of surprising commons. Well, you could fix this in multiple ways. You could say they have a lot of surprising things in common. Or you could say they have a lot of surprising commonalities, because common is an adjective, but commonalities is a noun. So you can have surprising commonalities, but not surprising commons. Okay. How about number 8? The city is not only presents an image of modern beauty, but gives hope for a wonderful future. Okay, so we can see the underlining there. We know something's wrong here. What tense is this? Is presents. What tense is presents? There is no tense is presents. You can have an is plus a past participle, which is the passive, right? The video is presented by the university, right? You can have an is presenting with an ing, a be verb plus an ing form, right? But there is no is presents. There is no tense that has a be verb is plus a present simple verb together. That doesn't exist. And I do see you sometimes writing verbs like this. So check yourself. Can you identify the tense you have used? Does that tense really exist? Here, the student has used a tense that doesn't exist. So actually you would just take out the is. The city not only presents an image of modern beauty, but gives hope for a wonderful future. All of these are real sentences that I took from student mistakes from another class a long time ago, handwritten mistakes. Not a long time ago, but anyway, before the pandemic. Okay, let's look at number 9. Oh, it still thinks there's a mistake here. Sometimes it doesn't like this but here, but it's okay, it actually works. It actually works. So there's no other mistake in number 8. Okay, let's go to number 9. My city becomes one of the most popular tourist destinations in recent years. So this is another one where it's going to actually be has become, because it became popular in the past and it is still popular now. So if something started in the past and is still true now, then think about possibly using the present perfect form for it, right? Has become. How about number 10? My city is belong to the continent of Asia. So once again, we have this is, a be verb, plus a present simple verb. It doesn't exist in the English language. So we will take out the is and we will just make the subject city, which is like a he, she, it. Make it agree with belong. So it's going to be belongs. My city belongs to the continent of Asia. Okay, let's go down to 11. The cost of living has increased. Looks like this student was trying to use the present perfect, but they forgot something. What did they forget? Well, they've put has plus a base form, or maybe that was supposed to be like a present simple. There is no tense that has a has or have plus a base form or plus a present simple form. It has to be the past participle. So we need that D. The cost of living has increased. That's it. Let's go to number 12. In Austin, one can does activities in the downtown area. Well, this is another tense mistake. What tense are they using here? Well, yes, it's a present simple, but this is a modal. We see this modal can. And what's the rule for using modals? Modals are the modal plus the infinitive, the base form of the verb for most modals. There are some modals that are exceptions to that rule, and we will talk about that in the future when we do argument essays. But for now, the basic rule is you have the modal, may, might, should, could, can, right? Plus the infinitive. So here, one can do, not one can does. In Austin, one can do activities in the downtown area, and now it's correct. One can does doesn't exist in the English language. Let's go to 13. Austin has already become a truly multiculturalism city. Well, look, they have nicely used the present perfect here, has become, right? Here, multiculturalism is a noun, and they need the adjective because it's describing city. So multicultural city, right? So that was a word for mistake. Let's look at number 14. The monument built in 1903 by Tsar Nicholas II. Must be a Russian student or a student from the former Russian Empire. The monument built. What tense should this be? Who built the monument? Tsar Nicholas. Okay, what tense should we use here? Do you know? The passive. How do we form the passive? Be plus the past participle. And the be can be in any tense, right? Here it should be the past simple, was built. Yeah. Or you could say the restaurant is being built. You could use a present progressive. You could say will be built. You could use a future form of the verb be. You could say has been built using the present perfect. You could say had been built using the past perfect. That be form can be in any tense depending on your meaning, right? Plus the past participle. Don't forget about the passive. And we know we use the passive when you're saying something was done by someone or something else. So here it has to be a passive because the monument was built by Tsar Nicholas, right? Don't forget about the passive. We don't review the passive in this level, but consider that a little review for you. Okay, number 15 is kind of a difficult one, and we will learn about conditional sentences in the future in this class. We'll have a little review of it. If I have to choose both cities, I will live in Austin for 9 months and my hometown for 3 months during the hot Texas summer. So I'll just tell you what this is. If I had to choose between, choose both cities, right? It's going to be a had. It's going to be a simple past. If I had to choose, right? I will live should be I would live. I would live in Austin for 9 months and my hometown for 3 months during the hot Texas summer. And that is like, if I had $1 million, I would build a mansion. What would you do if you had $1 million? So you can ask yourself and answer using the correct conditional tense for that. And we will review conditionals together in the future. Okay, students, did you catch most of the mistakes? Yes or no? I'll see you soon in class.